Good evening, everyone. Lovely to see so many people joining us for today. It's been an overwhelming response. We've actually had over 740 responses for today, and it just how valuable a resource these Wednesday webinars are for some people, and also what a celebrity Lily Horseman is. Apologies for the incorrect title screen, which I noticed halfway through. This isn't the Recognised Providers webinar, but that was an amazing webinar. Also had Lily hosting that one with our Recognised Provider and endorsed trainer guru, Nell. So if you haven't seen that video is now actually edited and uploaded and will be shared fairly soon. We've got lots of webinars in our back catalogue of really interesting topics, including more with lovely Lily and some other amazing experts. So if you haven't explored those, then please do look at them up on the YouTube channel and also search for them on the FSA website, because there are some links to some very useful webinars for members on there as well. Just another plea, we have had to pay Zoom to increase the room size for today. So if you haven't donated but would like to and feel able to, please do. I will put a link to donate to the FSA in here. It does cost us quite a significant amount of money to put on these webinars every month, and we are a team of 2 volunteers who do this on a monthly basis. So please do feel free to donate to keep the webinars free, and please also, if you are an expert in technical editing and feel like you could offer a couple of hours a month to be able to do some editing for us, then we would be very, very appreciative of that. You can email the inquiries at forestschoolassociation.org to register your interest in helping us out with that particular aspect of running these webinars. As it said, coming up soon, we've got a couple of things in the pipeline. There won't be a specific Wednesday webinar in December. We usually do a festive type thing, but this time we're asking for contributions to an Advent countdown. So we're looking for what we've done in the past, where people share some Christmassy Yule type activities that they might do with their groups, a short video up to 2 minutes, or a couple of series of pictures or something that we can put together to do a slow burn release all the way through December on our socials, and then sharing some lovely festive ideas that you get up to. So if you'd like to do that, then please do get in touch and send us those videos and those details of your little festive crafts, and we'd be love to populate our socials with those types of things through December. In a minute, because we've got so many people, I'm going to put out a really quick poll. It should take less than a minute to do, just to say we'd love to know where you're from, whether you're an FSA member, and if you've been to any of the webinars before, and any ideas for future topics. We are populating our program for next year, for 2026, and we'd love to have some input. As the FSA, we're looking for engagement with our membership and the wider sector for things that people would find useful. So please do share those in a minute when I put the poll up, which I'm going to do now. I'll give you a couple more seconds to answer those. Lovely to see lots of people saying that they're not yet members of the FSA but are interested. If you are really interested, it's such a worthwhile thing to join. You not only you get access to a member's back catalogue of information, guidance notes, blog posts and things on the FSA website, you also get things like discounts to Muddy Faces, discounts to other really well-known brands of bushcraft and forest school based stuff, and the chance to impact what we do as the FSA. We are a membership organisation, and we do need members to be able to do what we do. Some of you may have seen that we submitted a survey on insurance, where there was a risk that insurance was going to be hiked up for the employer's liability. thanks to the survey responses that we've had from well, members and wider forest school sector, we've now been able to share those things with Birnbeck, and they're taking that in their discussions with the underwriters. So fingers crossed, and we'll keep you updated with that. So yes, please do feel free to join the FSA as a member. We've got lots of different membership options, and I can give you a sneaky little code. So the code WEB10 will get you 10% off joining up as a member. So that's WEB lowercase 10 10. And if you want to use that in your basket at the end, you get 10% off your membership. So please do that. If you haven't become a member but you're saying you're interested, please go ahead and do that and use that discount code. Amazing. Thank you so much for your help with that poll. That's really, really interesting, and we'll look at those results later on. So that's enough from me. I am going to pass you over to Lily Horseman, the lovely Lily Horseman, who is going to talk to us a little bit about nature and the nervous system, which I'm very interested in and intrigued from your over your shoulder. I'm sure we'll find out what that is in a minute.
Yeah, thanks, Matt. I really appreciate that warm welcome on such a chilly day for lots of us, especially in the UK. I'm jealous, though. I'm in the north and I've not had as much snow as folk in the south. So, yeah. As Matt says, over my shoulder is a preview to what's coming later in this webinar. This is my apothecary, and I'm going to give you a little. Oh, the sparkly things. So we'll be looking at that later in the workshop, in the webinar, and that will help us explore the different aspects of nature and how that's going to impact on our nervous system. So I've got a unpatented, actually, powerless PowerPoint system, which if Matt could spotlight for me just now, that would be super helpful. That'd be great. So what we're going to do, this webinar is in 2 parts, and here you can see what's going to be going on. So the first part of the webinar, we're going to be looking at the nervous system, and then the second part we'll be looking at how nature impacts on our nervous system. So for folk who've I've not met before, or and coming new to the FSA, I've been involved with the FSA for quite a long time. I'm a forest school practitioner, I'm a forest school trainer, and critically, when it comes to this sort of stuff, I am not an expert. Why am I doing a webinar on this, you might ask? Well, a very good question. I ask myself these questions sometimes. What I am is, particularly in my role as a forest school trainer, I'm a community researcher. You know, I like to nerd out about these things. I like to find out information and then think about how I can share it effectively with other people who have similar interests to me. And that's why we're all here, right? You know, we've got our interests and the things that we want to find out about. So the structure of this webinar this evening, the first part, I'm going to be looking at the nervous system, and particularly what we call the autonomic nervous system. And I'm going to build some models to help us understand that and work through those. And then the second part, like I say, we'll be then looking at nature and looking at the apothecary and having a lovely time with that. So the work that I've been doing to kind of build up to this, I've been reading quite a lot, and I particularly wanted to give gratitude to another community educator called Janae Elizabeth, who, if you go on her website, The Trauma Geek, I did one of her 8-week holistic nervous system science study groups, and found that so helpful in building up my own understanding of these models and ways of thinking. So the autonomic nervous system, for folk who have come across this before, you will recognise it's often expressed as a ladder in this way. And what we'll do partway through, we'll have a little bit of a breakout, and if you've got questions, if you've got puzzles, there'll be an opportunity to be with other people and work through some of those questions. So just if that helps as well, but do feel free to type into the chat box as we go along, and then I'll pause and we'll see if we can answer some of those questions for you as well. So this autonomic nervous system, what is that about? So autonomic basically just means it's a system that works without you having to control it. We all have one. All the mammals share a very similar system. Autonomic just meaning automatic, you know, something that's happening behind the scenes all of the time. It's working for us right now. You'll often see it as well, kind of abbreviated, that's the right word, isn't it, to the ANS. And we've got different parts of this system, and they also have fancy names. And again, this model is, so when we talk about the nervous system, we're talking literally about the nerves in the body, the kind of the way that they all connect. This ladder model is probably inaccurate, but actually helps us be kind to ourselves. I mean, in fact, it was Michael James who's in this call said this recently, that this model is super helpful in helping us be more compassionate to ourselves and other people. And I really like this idea that by understanding ourselves, by understanding our systems, we can build up our compassion in some ways. So these different parts of the system, again, they also have different kind of codes that were later in when we're looking at the apothecary, you'll see some of these. So we've got the ventral vagal part of the system, the sympathetic nervous system, and the dorsal vagal or the parasympathetic nervous system. Vagal just means wandering about. So the ventral vagal is a nerve that wanders about the body. Dorsal vagal also wanders about, but dorsal, if you think about dorsal fin on a fish, is the thing that goes along the spine. So that is the nerve that runs along the spine in that way. Ventral vagal being the one that goes around all the vents in the body. So it meets a lot of our sense organs, goes all the way through all of those sort of different openings. Now, what our body's doing is taking in this information from all of these different parts of the system, all of the different information that's coming to it, and it's processing it. And the question that our system is often trying to work out is, am I safe or not? And it's looking for these different cues to work out, am I safe or not? It's a really key bit of information that the body's looking for. And one of the ways that we look for this cues of safety is through the senses. Now, how we all perceive the world is very different, thinking about our different senses. Across the top of the screen there, you might be able to see some other human beings. Can you all have a little look? Are there other human beings there? I'm going to do a little experiment. I'd like you to wave on this side of the screen if this is a like, ooh, strong yes, and wave on that side of the screen if it's a strong no, okay? So I've got some questions about senses. So have a look who else is along the top of the screen there with you. So first question, do you like really crunchy foods? So this side of the screen for a strong yes, this side of the screen for a strong no. Okay, give us a little bit of feedback. Really crunchy foods, where are you at? So have a look along. Is everybody the same as you? Maybe they are, maybe they're not. So somebody asked which sides. Notoriously don't know my left from my right, so I'm going to really struggle with that. So some people were waving strongly on the left-hand side, some on the right-hand side. Next question. How do you feel about really bitter green herbs? So strong, yes, I love them on this side of the screen. Strong, no, can't abide it on that side of the screen. Have a little look. Are other people the same as you? And then thinking about, let's have another one. What about, microfiber towels? Can we just have a little moment for a microfiber towel? How do you feel about touching a microfiber towel? Really strong, yep, love them on this side. Really strong, like, don't like the, some people can't see other folk on the screen. What I can see from the people that I'm looking at is that some people are some people are already horrified at the thought of microfiber towels. I'm with you, Julie. They touch you before you can touch them. Don't like them at all. But so what we can see from the responses that we're getting from the feedback from other people is that actually none of our systems are the same. None of them perceive data in the same way. That for some people, certain smells might be really strongly overwhelming. For some people, they're delightful. For some people, some tastes really great, or some sort of tactile sense is really fantastic. For other people, not so much. So each human being is taking in all of this data from the world around them and then trying to process what that data means to them and their body. And now our autonomic nervous system is processing that data. So super quick, subconscious processing all of the time. Now, I gave you some slightly fancy technical names for these things. For me, I found it really helpful to think about what they're actually doing for the body. So what's actually going on in the body. And I'm going to swap these titles around a little bit. So for this ventral vagal, we're talking about calm and social. For the sympathetic nervous system, that's the activated, so the active part of the nervous system. And then for this third one, the parasympathetic, the dorsal vagal, got that stopped pause. So these cues are different responses depending on whether we've got feelings of safety or feelings of danger. Now, when we're looking at these different cues and different clues here, so for feeling safe, so if a person's feeling all of that information's coming into their body and they're feeling safe, that what that ventral vagal is helping them access is that curiosity, creativity, feelings of connection. If they're feeling safe, then the sympathetic nervous system, when that's that activated sense, what the person will be experiencing is activeness, alertness. It's almost like that preparation for work, or like being ready to go, being ready and capable of doing things. And then this third system is the one that is managing sleep and stillness, the rest and repair, the kind of sort of calmness, but in stillness. If the body's receiving danger cues, again, these same three circuits are working in different ways. So for somebody who's feeling cues of danger, if they're able to access that ventral vagal, that calm social state, that then what they'll be doing is they'll be doing that crisis communication. They'll be looking after other people. They'll be offering comfort. They'll be supporting others. Now, this is where this might be quite familiar to you as the fight or flight. So that sympathetic activated part of the nervous system, that's the fight or flight. So if you're getting cues of danger or there's some sort of challenge to the system, then if the person doesn't feel like they're able to feel safe, if they're not comfortable in this spot here, then they will try and either get away from it, flight, or get it away from them, fight. It's a way of responding to those cues in the world that there's some sort of threat or danger. If that fight or flight doesn't work, then what the body will do is go into shutdown mode. So immobility, disassociation, removing itself from the danger, by just shutting down. And this is the way that our body and our brain has kept us safe for hundreds and thousands of years. This is a system that looks after us. None of these responses are wrong. These are the ways that our body looks after us. So you think about our ancestors when they were coming across a saber-toothed tiger. If you can't get away from it or you can't punch it in the face, what do? You go small. And that dorsal vagal, I find that quite interesting, that idea of curling up almost, that spine being the protection against, you know, threat from the outside world. It's that curling up, that curling inwards. So we've got these three parts of the system here. Yeah, they kind of respond in different ways. I'm going to just take out the titles just briefly, because I want us to think about what do those mean for the people that we're working with? What are they like for the people that we're working with? I'm going to leave a little clue for myself in there as well. So this ventral vagal state, for the kind of, you know, feelings of safety, calm and social mode, that is that I can feeling. For this state, it's more like that I must, you know, that real drive, that like need and want to move. And then this third part of the circuit here, this sort of shutdown, is that I can't. You know, for whatever reason, the person can't cope with whatever's going on and needs to withdraw themselves. So I'd like you to just think about some of the children and young people, or the humans. I mean, I don't know who you all work with, but there'll be people that you work with. And if you think about how they're responding to different situations, then we can then pick up clues from what they're saying about which state they might be in, and that can help us support them. Now, the way the system works is that basically this top line, people want to do well if they can. They want to be operating from this kind of safe and social, calm mode. But if they can't, for whatever reason, and they move down, you know, like we say, that trying to get away from the threat. And if that doesn't work, then moving down and shutting down completely. And then what happens is that you need to move all the way through this cycle in order to come back up to the top level. So if somebody's shut down, they can't go straight into a safe and social mode. They'll need to have some sort of movement, something that moves their body or themselves out of this shutdown state. And that our role as practitioners and other humans who want to support humans is to think about how we can be that safe enough person in order to help somebody move through that cycle. And that, you know, offering them support, offering them care in different ways in order to help them move through that cycle. Later, after the breakouts, I'll show you some of the different aspects of nature, and we'll look at how those different aspects of nature can help people move through this cycle as well. That's one of the things that I'm been finding particularly fascinating in my own reading and research. And the way that people connect with one another, where's my other little human here, is that actually the coherence of the you know, how, whether this person's regulated or not, that actually transmits to other people. So our energy state, you know, our nervous system state will transmit to other people as well. And that actually the nervous system of the because it's like mammals, if you think about herd animals, you know, that sort of sense of alertness being rippling through a herd. It's the same for us as humans, that when somebody is stressed or somebody is distressed, that will ripple out and it will connect, it will affect other people's nervous systems as well. And so for us as humans who want to support other people, actually, how do we look after our nervous systems in order to keep them calm and balanced and regulated is a really important question. And for me, one of the things in my life that does that is my connection with nature, and that helps me keep balanced and regulated. And the more I've done the sort of reading and thinking around this, the more I can see why that works. So we're just going to think a little bit about these states again, and actually what's physiologically going on. So what is actually happening in the body? So this dorsal vagal, the calm and social mode, what is actually physically going on in the body? So increases in digestion, the immune response gets stronger when this part of the nervous system's activated, people will have a lot more movement in their eyes and in their head. So if you think about that calm and social mode, there's something there about connecting with other people around you. They also, you'll hear prosody of voice. What that means is basically not the like of stress or the of shutdown, but that, calm, steady away, modulated tone of voice that helps you understand that somebody is in a calm and social state. Also, the other things that are going on, circulation to the skin is happening, and also circulation to the non-vital organs. So you can see that physiologically, this is a good place to be. Like it's physically impacting the body in a really positive way. Then let's move to this sympathetic nervous system response, the activated response. What's going on here? So there's a reduction in the immune response. So the immune response, our health system is not working as well. Digestion's also reduced. Relational ability, so the capacity to see other people and understand what they might be feeling or experiencing, that's also reduced. On the flip side, there's an increase in a heart rate, there's an increase in blood pressure, there's an increase in adrenaline, so cortisol level going up, and also an increase in blood clotting, which is interesting, isn't it? Because this is obviously the body's response trying to keep safe. So it's like preparing for threat. Like, I'm going to have to get my blood clotting in a row because so I'm about to, it's like the body's going, I'm about to stop bleeding. I'm going to have to prepare for that. Don't worry about digestion. We'll worry about food later. Like, there's a more immediate threat to the body. I'm going to switch this on, switch on offline for digestion, online for blood clotting. Find that quite telling in terms of what the body's doing. And then our third state, reducing heart rate. So again, if you imagine somebody trying to withdraw and protect themselves, heart rate slowing, the depth of breath slowing, temperature, body temperature going down, social behaviours reducing, ability to hear and attunement to voice also is reducing, increase in endorphins to numb pain. So again, you can kind of imagine that person protecting themselves from a saber-toothed tiger. They can't run away from it. They can't fight it. What they're going to do? They're shutting down and kind of preparing to be mauled. This is what's going on in the body. But obviously what's happening right now for us and for the children, the young people, the folk that we're working with, they're not preparing for saber-toothed tigers. We don't meet those very often. But our body, if it feels that sense of threat, will still activate those different modes. And one of the challenges is, especially when something happens, that somebody gets stuck in one of those modes. Like I said, all of these states are normal and healthy. Moving through them is a completely, if you imagine about, when you wake up in the morning, you're here, and then you start to move and become alert and active, and then start to connect with other people. That's a really normal thing. And then you maybe do some real big physical movement and need to rest afterwards. So again, you can see it's really normal to move up and down through the different states. What's not normal is to be stuck in those states. And that's where distress is experienced, as being stuck in those states. Things that will make it more likely to be stuck in those states. Let me add these across here. Remove that rock. With the computer. There we go. So things that will more likely to make somebody be stuck in those states. Loss of autonomy. So that's loss of choice, control, ability to decide what you want to do and how you want to do it. Messages that you don't belong. So that might be because of the colour of your skin, or the way that your brain works, or where you were born, how you present yourself. Any of those things that give you a message that you don't belong are a trigger that will take you down through here and are more likely to make you stuck there if that's consistent and yeah, not supported, I guess, is the one way to think about it. Then we've got those other stresses, whether they're environmental stresses or emotional stresses. And when we're talking about stresses, it's that distress, not eustress. So like stress is not a terrible thing in itself. The combination of fun and stress is incredible for the brain. It really helps the brain develop and grow and thrive. But distress is where there's not is stress without the fun, basically. And blame and shame are, again, they're all messages that you don't belong, or that you're not okay to be who you are. There's other factors as well that might keep you in those stuck states. So chronic illness and trauma, again, are two things that might keep somebody in one of those states. So we've got this idea that there's these different states and our body moves through them, and that stresses will create a stuckness in this flow. Now, one of the things that I've found really interesting when I've been reading about nervous systems is that these states aren't just kind of isolated states. There's also an idea that you get a mixture of different states as well. So I'm just going to do a little bit of tidying. I'll move these out of the way so I can get into the middle. So we're going to look at some mixed states now. Okay, tidy all you guys up. So the first one we're going to look at is a combination of the parasympathetic sleep, stillness, rest and repair, but also with curiosity and creativity and in a connected state. And what we end up with there is with quite a meditative state. It's quite you know, calm, relaxed, but connected, and possibly with other people as well. So you can see how that's like we've not got just an isolated part of the nervous system working, we've got bits working together. The next mixed state that we're going to look at is something I'm very passionate about as a forest school practitioner, as a play worker, and as a human, actually. So we've got this combination here of activeness, alertness, movement, all of this going on, and curiosity, creativity, and connectivity. And that's what play is. You know, it's kind of that social connection and with activity. So that's another of our mixed states. And then the third mixed state that we'll look at, get it the right way up. So we've got activeness, alertness, and movement, but also going to combine that with the shutdown, the immobility, and the disassociation. And that fawning and masking is that. So fawning is trying to people pleasing, basically, and masking. Typically for folk who are neurodivergent, where they're trying to present in a different way to how they're experiencing. And it's this combination of being shut down, being disassociated, being not in, you know, kind of accessing your own needs in that way, while still being active and moving. So it's almost like trying to present one thing in order to well, and one of the ways I've heard it presented is to fool the aggressor. You know, you're trying to say everything's fine. You know, it's trying to present like this tend and befriend, or like where's that one? It's trying to present this a ventral vagal state, comfort and tending and befriending, whilst still moving, but without being kind of connected with actually what the needs really are there. And you can see why that's really exhausting, because actually you're moving in between these two states, but without being and trying to present in a third way. And so when we're talking about fawning and masking, that kind of combination is going on there as well. Just think about a young person that I was working with a few years ago who was a looked after child, and when we first met him, we're like, oh, you know, we saw this. he always wanted to help, comfort people. Oh, can I help you with that? Can I carry the bag? Can I um, help make the snack? Shall I take the snack around to everybody? He was really there for everybody else. But the more we got to know him, the more we saw that that was him trying to look after other people because he was trying to keep himself safe. His sense of threat was really strong, and he perceived it in the environment all the time because of his upbringing, because of the trauma that he'd experienced as a child, and that how he presented himself was not how he was actually feeling inside, and allowing him to actually think about how was he really feeling was, yeah, one of those challenges when you're working with children, young people who are needing to fawn or mask in different ways. I've also been thinking about some of those games that for me I like to play in the woods and what's going on there. So if you think about some of those games where you're running and hiding, so active alertness, movement, and then you're hiding, and then you're running again, and you're with your friends. And so for me, I think this is one of those reasons. I've got this kind of uh, theory that this is why children really love some of those games where they're able to kind of, and it's this as well, actually, isn't it? I'm going to add that one in there too. So those games like Eagle Eye or like hide and seek or commando or those sort of things, I've found that children and young people love playing those games. I've been thinking and reflecting on that for years. And why is it that those games are really appealing for children and young people? And it's because they're getting to practice moving through different states. They're with their friends, so they're feeling calm and connected. But then you get that feeling of like, I'm under threat, I'm in danger. Oh, but then I can hide and like, oh, and now I'm relaxing. And then I'm in threat again. And then moving through those states and kind of doing that in a calm and social way, but accessing those states. I think there must be something there that really appeals to children's nervous systems because they want to do it a lot, right? I used to say, oh, be careful how soon you introduce those games because the children will become obsessed by them and you'll never get to do anything else. And now I think, why is it that they want to play those games? What is it that's really appealing to their nervous systems in particular? So let me have a little look around. What else have I got here? I think, oh yeah, I'm going to add one last little bit onto here. So bringing our ladder back together a little bit. What are the things that move us up the ladder? Right, let's tidy up. You go there, you go there, you go there. Oh, colour's so helpful in tidying. There we go. So we've got our 3 different states. What is it that moves us through those states? And one of those lovely words that I've heard in the literature is the glimmers, the things that light you up. And again, in the second part of this webinar, we're going to look at some of those glimmers, particularly relating to nature and how is it that they light us up. But to move us through this, lots of things can offer us those glimmers, like connection with a friend, like feeling safe from like a hug. It might be things in nature, it might be pets, it might be music or rhythm. There's lots of different things that will help us move through that nervous system. And like I say, I'll share some of those in the second part of this webinar. So I'm just going to, well, actually, Matt, if you could remove the spotlight for us on that a little bit. Because what we're going to do, we're going to go into a breakout room for 7 minutes. So just a short one. I'm aware that I have, the second part of this webinar is in about 7 minutes time, Dana. So don't worry. We're just going to have a little pause because I'm aware that I've given out quite a lot of information. There's lots of books and again, I can give you some references and different things that you can have a look at for this. But we're going to have a little break and a brain break and a little opportunity to check in. We'll have 7 minutes in which to do that check-in with each other, and then a couple of minutes after that if you need a comfort break as well. So we're going to have some breakout rooms, and what I'd like you to do is in your breakout room, when you go into the breakout room, give a little indication of how comfortable are you with this information. Now, it may be that for some of you, this is really familiar. This is stuff that you've been working on and processing yourself. It may be that you're, you know, like I say, I'm not an expert. It may be that you are, and that's great. So you're going to give a little indication that you're, yes, I'm there. Like raise the roof. I'm full of this information. Here I am. This is me. So you can kind of give people a signal that you're feeling quite confident around this information. It may be that you feel a little bit more wobbly, and so this is, you know, with your hands in the center of the little hand signal to show people that you're less comfortable with it. I'm getting ideas. It's starting to synthesize in my brain. I'm working on it. Or is it, I am completely overwhelmed. This is all new. My brain is mashed. So there's these three different states. Where are you? Are you here? Are you here? Are you here? So this is raise the roof. I'm full of this information. I'm happy with it. Here, I'm a bit wobbly. Here, I am overwhelmed. This is all new to me and it's all a bit much. And hopefully that means that in your breakout room, you'll be able to support one another in different ways. So if you've got all of this information in your brain, great. We can use this as an opportunity to support each other. Because if you're here overwhelmed, let's see if we can think of some good questions to ask. And folk who have got this information, we can help people with those questions that they have. If you're a little bit wobbly, then it may be that you can clarify things with other people or help other people clarify the questions that they've got. And then if in your groups, either support each other to answer those questions, or if you can think of questions that you want to bring back, like I say, after that 7 minutes, we'll come back together. And if you've got questions, then yeah, we'll look at those. If you're not able to be in a breakout room, that's fine. Feel free just to kind of sit and process the information in different ways. Don't feel like you have to go into a breakout room. You can just keep your screen off, mute yourself, and maybe write yourself some questions and or pop them in the chat for later as well. So Matt, are you feeling like?
Yeah, I mean, if you end up as someone that does want to join in, and there are lots of people or everyone else in your breakout room that are off screen, then just pop me a message, come back to the main room, pop me a message, and I'll put you in another breakout room. So don't just sit there wanting to talk to people and not being able to. We're definitely around to help you manage that. And likewise, if you're on a phone, lovely to have you. It doesn't, breakout rooms don't work on phones, but take some time to ponder.
Okay, good to know. Yeah. So there's a question in here. I'm just writing in the chat. So signal your comfort levels with the information, like that, and then either answer each other's questions or come up with some good questions that you can bring back. And if you're sitting by yourself having a comfort break, then think of some good questions to bring back for part 2. So as people are coming back in, were there any questions that you weren't able to answer in your breakout rooms that you weren't able to help each other with? Any questions that you'd like to kind of ask the group? And if you've got rants, we've probably got about a minute if you've got a good rant that you want to get out here, because you know we've all got one, right? So yeah, if you need a 30-second rant, then this is your chance as people are coming back in.
Time while Lily runs to another room to donate or to join the FSA if you haven't already. Yeah, or to put your hand up to tell me that you're going to offer a couple of hours to edit these videos.
Sorry, I just ran to another room to get something based on one of the questions that came back. That was exciting. So other questions, other things that people wanted to maybe clarify or weren't able to work out in their breakout rooms. Anybody got anything there? Please stick that in the chat. While you're doing that, I'm going to share another powerless PowerPoint. So somebody asked about is that backwards for you? No, it's the right way around. Partway through, while you were on the breakout room, I managed to just completely break my computer and then get back in. So now everything's backwards for me. That's fine. I'll work with that. So different ways that we can move through that cycle, singing, humming, chanting, drumming, dancing, gargling, rocking, swinging, tapping, talking to friends, hugs, cuddles, conscious breathing, guided meditations, appreciating nature, bilateral stimulation. That's a fancy way of saying stimulating this side and then stimulating this side and then stimulating this one and then this one. Petting something soft, creative activities, and micro doses of awe. And what I'm happy to do is to share that. If people, I'll pop it on probably maybe on like Instagram. We can maybe share it on the Forest School Association page. If people want to kind of look at that a bit more detail and think what that might look like in your practice, then that would be really helpful. Questions that have come back, noticing the signals when state is changing for yourself and others. Yeah, that sort of thinking about the way the senses give us that information, but also how we pick that up from other people as well. And what's interesting is, especially when we're talking about fawning or masking, the higher the social status of the person, the less likely they are to perceive the fawning or masking of others. And so that's one of those really interesting things for us as adults, often working with children or young people, that we are less likely to perceive than their peers if somebody's kind of in a stressed or distressed state. Hammocks activating parasympathetic, yes, but also I think there's something there about that vagal state as well. So if you think about it, it's that hug, isn't it? It's that calming and soothing. And so I think that that mixed state that I was talking about, where people feel the calm and social, the ventral vagal, and the parasympathetic, the calm and soothed. I think it's activating both at the same time. Just thinking about that, actually physiologically, a hammock is pressing on the whole nerve along the back. So I think, and noticing how, especially some of the most dysregulated children, young people that I work with, love a hammock. It's got a powerful effect there. Weighted blankets too, yeah, absolutely. So any other questions that were just having a little scroll through? Singing and swinging, yeah, absolutely. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to share some of the apothecary bits with you. The first bit I'm going to think about is actually how do we manage our own states? You know, how can we move ourselves from different states? And all of us have been doing it all the way through this call, is through the air and the breath. Now, the way we breathe can help us activate different parts of our nervous system. So focusing on the breath in is the mobilization. It's the that activation. Focusing on the breath out is calming and soothing. And focusing on that deep breathing for even more deep breaths in, deep breath out, you're kind of activating both. When you're outdoors as well, the amount of oxygen in the environment is also massively increased as well, so compared with an indoor environment. So what we're going to do just now, I'd like just invite you to imagine you've got a cup of something really warm and delicious in front of you. And imagine that you're smelling something. I don't know, what is it? Is it a soup? Is it a hot chocolate? Imagine what it is in there, and then think about smelling a really delicious drink or food that's in your bowl, and then blowing on it to cool it, and then breathing in to smell the smell. And you can join in if you like, because it's ever so nice, actually, just having that little moment of conscious breathing and blowing on it to cool it. So using the air and breath can be a really good way to help calm and regulate and soothe. And, you know, it might be that you start sessions with breaths. There's lots of playful breaths you can use, or playing games where you take a leaf and then see if you can blow it off your hand. Again, it's just like really focusing on that out breath, which is the one that's calming and soothing. Before we get into the other aspects of nature, I'd like to share a little magic trick with you. So here I have my magical symbol, and what I'm gonna see if we can do is I'd like you to just take one of your hands and close it really tightly. Okay, so take your hand, close it really tightly. And then I'm going to, through the power of like absolute Zoom magic, transmit this signal into your hand. So have a little look and then open up your hand and then look at the veins on your hand, the creases on your hand. Can you see that pattern there? You got it? You spot it? We all have this magical symbol on us in our hands. And this is a really good reminder that we are all part of nature because these symbols appear in lots of different places. So these same symbols that are on our bodies are in lots of different places in nature. And if you think about how on this pine cone, see how all those scales are all arranged. It's the same pattern as the way that our hairs are fastened to the crown of our head. It's the same Fibonacci sequence, same kind of swirl there. And this for me is a really strong reminder that when we're talking about being in nature or working with nature, we're not apart from nature. We are a part of nature. The reason why these patterns are in our bodies, the way that our lungs and the branches in our lungs spread and separate is the same as the way a lichen is attached on the tree. It's not a coincidence. We are a part of nature. And that's something to kind of help us remember that the reason why we react so strongly to aspects of nature is because actually it's only this last 300 years that we've been separating ourselves from nature, that actually we are part of nature, and that's why our bodies respond. But there's also something else going on with these patterns. So our brains really love patterns that are predictable, that the way that things branch and break and split like this. So when we're looking at trees, our brains are calmed and soothed by that. And here I've got a little bottle of those patterns and shapes. And those fractal patterns, those designs where things branch and shape in particular ways, our brain finds that really soothing because it can predict that in some ways. So again, we're taking cues from the environment around us, and our cognitive processing, our mental fatigue goes down if we can predict the patterns. And so being in nature, our brain goes, oh, that's good. That's what, like that's a way that I was expecting that tree to branch. And that's why sometimes, we get distracted by a really curiously curved tree, is because it's our brain also is seeking out that curiosity and that stimulation of the new and something that's changed in different ways. So yeah, seeking out fractal patterns in nature is our second part of the apothecary. The other thing about being around trees and plants is that actually that's having a chemical effect on our bodies, and that the chemicals in plants are attaching to our neurotransmitter, and they're reducing our cortisol levels. So, we talk about that adrenaline. So adrenaline, the stress hormone, cortisol, and that actually being around trees, being around plants can reduce those cortisol levels. If anybody's come across the Shinrin-yoku research that was in Japan, in Korea, and in Finland as well, they were looking at actually how long does it take, 20 minutes around trees, particularly around conifers, interestingly, seem to have a stronger effect. Changes our cortisol levels, but also helps our immune system as well. And so that improves our immune response. So being around trees, being around plants really helps in those ways. That's our next bit of the apothecary. What I didn't do was find myself somewhere to put all these down. I'll put you in this box. Here you go. In there. And the effect of natural light. So what's that doing for our bodies? So the natural light, when we're in the outdoors in nature, what we're doing is we're able to tap into the natural rhythm of the day, which can really help our sleep. It really helps our circadian rhythms. It helps our bodies regulate. It also helps us understand that sort of night and day and the flow of those things, which helps our health as well. So using light in order to help our bodies understand and regulate what's going on there. And my next little bottle has got some earth and soil. So any gardeners among you among us will know that putting our hands into the earth can really help us feel better, can really help our reset. There's other things going on as well then. So we've got our nervous system, and we get these like chemical communicators with our nervous system. And one of those is serotonin. And the bacteria in the soil goes through our cell walls when we touch soil and increases our serotonin levels in our bodies. Serotonin particularly helps learning and growing. It's a feel good part of the feel good hormone neurotransmitters. So yeah, and then there's also the smell of soil helps us relax as well. So again, those sensory cues and clues that we're taking in from the environment helps our bodies feel calm and safe. That smelling the smells of soil can help with that as well. What else have I got in here? Let's have a look. The next one. So folk who are cold water swimmers will know the feeling of uh, going into the water. It really activates that shutdown mode, which is almost like a forced reboot. And for folk who are really into that, cold water swimming will feel the benefits of that. But also, drinking plenty of water, it helps the flow of the nervous system signals as well. So again, think about how do we meet people's needs? How do we look after people in order for them to meet their basic needs and also get the benefits of being around water. Now, so I'll talk about cold water swimming, but the reality is as well, sometimes, I mean, I live in Cumbria in the north of England. Actually, just standing out in the woods last week was like cold water swimming. Deep levels of immersion all on my face. And I was thinking at the time, this is one of those things that is providing a benefit for my nervous system. If I can feel safe enough, because that's the tricky thing, isn't it, actually, when we're out in the woods, when it's cold and it's wet, is does my body feel those cues and clues of safety enough that I can receive the benefits of being in nature? And, we had many, many tarps, we had a fire, we had all of those things in order to keep us feeling that safe enough in order that we could feel the benefit of being in nature in that way. This is a particularly magical bottle. Don't know if you can hear that. So this bottle contains birdsong. I'm also quite satisfied by the fact that you can take the lid on and off, and there's like birdsong in a bottle. Now, one of the things that's happening for our bodies is that when we hear birdsong, we're taking it as a cue of safety in the environment. If you think about our great 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 grandmother and grandfather, they were in nature, their body and their brain was in nature a lot of the time, and they would be taking clues and cues from the environment. Is there a threat? Birds will not sing in that way if there's something threatening them. You might get an alarm call, you might get You might get complete silence and stillness. But what you don't get is birdsong. So to hear birdsong is giving our ancestral bodies a cue and a clue that actually everything's okay. There's no major threats in the environment. And still, our modern body responds in the same way. That actually, some of the research that has been done has shown that it's helping calm and soothe the nervous system to hear birdsong. And also for those people who are really into birding, and it's that release of dopamine and curiosity. Um, uh, Curiosity can really help produce dopamine as well. That sort of like little hit in that way in there as well. So that's our bird song. Before I get on to the next one, there is also a reminder that nature is a rich environment and it can be a bit overstimulating as well. And if you've got folk who, particularly whose nervous systems are quite already receiving a lot of overwhelm and stress, that actually being in nature doesn't feel safe for everybody yet. And that actually there's quite a high level of stimulus sometimes in a natural environment, and that rich sensory environment can be overdose for some people, and it can activate that sympathetic nervous system, creating anxiety and overwhelm in that way. There's this one. I don't know if you can get the full effect of this one where you are, but I've got a little bottle of sunshine. And actually, for anybody who spends their time outside, you know, when that moment where the sun gets on your face and you kind of just turn towards it and kind of pause for a moment, especially if it's been a long, cold winter. So we've got that stimulating of vitamin D, but also beta endorphins that act as painkillers. We've got a really powerful mix of things going on by being in the sunshine. Obviously, again, looking about making sure we look after our bodies, that we don't end up with sunburn, but that feeling of sun in your face producing the vitamin D. And on the flip side of this, I've also got this one to represent fire. Somebody was saying about the different four elements, the primal connection. And that actually sitting by a fire activates the parasympathetic nervous system. So that calm, that relaxation, rest, that actual the flames and watching the flames help create this slow wave activity in our brains, which help the nervous system reset. So if you think about our ancestors, you know, difficult day out on the savannah, maybe missed a few elk or whatever it was that's gone wrong, come back to the fire and they sit and they kind of use that as a way of calming and soothing the nervous system. We've got fire, which is sunshine that we've managed to capture for ourselves. My last bottle is a bottle of ore. Every home should have one. So awe is one of those things that activates our nervous system. So it leads there's a physical effect that happens when we experience awe. It moves us out of our sense of self and moves us into this sense that there's something bigger than us. So if you think about awe, there's things like, I don't know, like the Grand Canyon or the Northern Lights, you know, those really big dramatic things create that feeling of awe, slowing our heart rate, reducing our stresses. In reality, we're not going to be able to get a Grand Canyon every day. I mean, there isn't the Northern Lights in every day, but what we do have is nature's own little microdoses of awe. And what I'd like you to do is just in the chat now, what are some of the glimmers? What are the things that have lit you up today? Think about any time you've spent in nature today. So little microdoses of awe. So this activates that ventral vagal state, helping that safety and regulation and reset of the nervous system. So what are the microdoses of awe that you've had today? What are the moments? For me, I was out walking and I saw just a really good line of clouds. It was like a thick line of clouds, but then there was a sunset behind it, and it was just a very crisp line. And I remember just kind of going, that's a really good cloud. And then I said it out loud to myself as well, because I was walking by myself and I can do that sort of thing. And as I was thinking about preparing for this webinar, I was thinking that's one of those glimmers, isn't it? Those little things. We've all got them. I mean, if you look in the chat now, there's just some absolutely gorgeous things like birds and sun on leaves and snow settling and a little fox sheltering the woods. That one of the things for us as practitioners is like recognizing those little microdoses of awe that we're getting every day from our environment and thinking about how we can share that experience with other people as well and share those glimmers with others. Somebody was asking about the labels. I've actually just managed to get them onto my own website with a small fee to download, which I'm going to donate to the FSA because they've had to boost the Zoom numbers. So if you want to download your own labels and use them for your own practice to share with other people, then we can make sure there's a link that do people get an email after this, Matt? I'm looking at you. Yep, it's nodding, marvelous. So I'll pop a little link in that as well. And yeah, if you'd like to use these labels when you're sharing how pretty freaking cool nature is with other people, then please do, because this is yeah, one of the things that helps me helps me get really excited about not just the feeling that I'm feeling, but actually knowing that what we're doing by helping people get into nature, it's helping work on their nervous system in a way that's really powerful. And yeah, so I'm going to pause there. Has anybody got any questions or queries or things that they're wanting to know about? Anything or things that they think I've missed and like, how did you not mention this? So please feel free to give it either turn on your mics and ask questions or yeah, add any questions in the chat. Oh, and thanks for the comments as well. Really enjoying those. Thank you. So what is something that you would like to do in this next week? Thinking about your nervous system, the nervous system of other people that you might be working with, and your relationship with nature. What's something you'd like to do? Yes, somebody said I was going to recommend further reading. Thank you. Love that people keep me accountable. Yeah. Lifts book pile from behind. So what have I got here? Let's have a little look. Are they all facing the right way round? No, they're not. I'm just looking. I'm going to give a little shout out for not this, but the next edition of the Forest School and Autism, Michael James with Steffi as well, is going to have a chapter in it that's really brilliantly sums up all this, particularly looking at how the nervous system and nature impacts on neurodivergent children and people. So look out for the new edition of Forest School and Autism. I'm thinking probably in 2026. I mean, that's a fairly good bet, isn't it? 2025 nearly over. What else have we got? So if you're interested in the impact of nature on the body, this is quite a good book, Nature Fix. And Your Brain on Nature, which I think is out of print, but is really interesting book that you can still get a hold of. I found this really helpful. This is from Muddy Faces. This is kind of summarising some of the science. This is one of their little booklets, Reasons to be Outside. A really good summary of some of the science if you want to communicate really clearly with somebody. I'm enjoying this book quite a lot. I find it's quite clear and helpful in terms of summing up. This is Neuroscience of the Developing Child, Self-Regulation for Wellbeing in a Sustainable Future. Feels very apt for what a lot of the work that folk are doing here. this book, if you're thinking particularly about how do we support children, young people who are dysregulated, she uses some of the same nervous system kind of science and descriptions, and talks about how to support dysregulation in particular. And if you're wanting to think about how the sensory feedback that you're seeing, how to support that, this is a great book on. It's really clear. Oh yeah, can I pop a list of the books? I'll take a picture of the books, and then so I'm not very good at typing up all the names, but this is a cracking book if you're ever wanting to research particular sensory feedback activities that children are doing. Shinrin Yoku, that's another one on my reading list. Been quite helpful reading some of the research. Yeah, and other ones that I've drawn from. And like I said as well, Janae Elizabeth and the Trauma Geek, do check out her work as well. That's something worth looking at. Yeah. So I'll take a picture of these. I'll send it to Matt. I'll take a picture of the glimmers. I'll send that to Matt as well, and a link to the labels if anybody wants them. Anything else that I said I'd do?
Promising a lot, Lily.
Oh, that's all right. It's only a bit of light admin. I think we can handle it. Yeah, lovely. And thank you so much for being here as well. Really appreciate all of your contributions. I'm looking forward to reading through the comments as well. Yeah, been an absolutely cracking evening. Thank you so much for joining.
Thank you, everyone, and huge thanks to Lily for giving up her time to do this. And I know you did a couple of workshops at the road shows on this, and the response to that has been, very, very positive as well. So we do really appreciate you sharing that with a wider audience, a wider audience of 744. Yeah. Thank you, everyone, for coming and joining us. There isn't going to be a specific webinar in December, as I said, but look out for our Forest School Advent countdown. And there'll be some more social media posts on how to get involved with that as well. And then also looking forward to 2026 for some new webinars and some other roadshows. If you haven't been to one of our roadshows, look out for them on the horizon as well. Oh, and yes, join the FSA. I knew that's one thing I had to repeat. Join the FSA. Use the code Web10. Get some discount on it. Thank you, everyone. Have a lovely evening.
Thank you.
Thanks
Lily.
all. Enjoy.
Thanks, Lily.
Absolutely can. Partly because I'm distracted by messages in the chat and interesting questions as well.
Yeah, I love that one on colours.
Yeah, I sort of could see that out of the corner of my eye and was like, don't get distracted, don't get distracted.
One of my level 3 trainees did that as part of their research, and the interesting impact on colour and colour perception, and it was quite an interesting read. No points for guessing what the most calming colour is, though.
It's green, isn't it?
Of course it is.
Green and blue. We've got more cones in our eyes for perceiving green and blue than we have for perceiving any other colour, because our brains were made for it.
That's a spoiler after the webinar. We're still recording. Yes, we're still recording. It's okay. We'll cut that bit in and put it somewhere else.
It's like in the cinema, isn't it? If you walk out too soon, you miss the bit where there's some random bit about eyeballs.
So it's an Easter egg. Yeah.